I'm Kathi Kruse. Before I forget, because I might, these review cards, so rate your experience that you had here today. Hopefully you'll have a good one. And I'm told that you can return them to the help desk outside. Okay. All right, we're going to talk about online reputation today. Just a quick question. How many of you guys are dealers? Okay. How many are vendors? A few vendors. Okay, great. Good to know. All right. Well, I first service mostly the dealer level or sometimes the manufacturer level training and things like that. So my focus is I'll probably talk a lot more about dealers than I do about the vendor side, but there's all the tenets of this was workable for vendors too. So, all right, let's jump in. We've only got 30 minutes today. So, the good old days. Anybody remember this guy? He was my idol. I grew up in the car business in Los Angeles. My grandfather was a dealer in the 50s and 50s and 60s, and so this guy was my idol. This is back when the consumer trusted advertising, okay? And customers trusted salespeople to provide all the information. Dealers had all the information and customers didn't have any. Customers depended solely on service writers for best advice, right? Sometimes they still do, but the kind of the relationship is a little bit different now. And then came technology and automation. So that kind of shifted things a little bit more towards the customer. And then, of course, came social media. And that's where I work with a lot of dealers that are afraid of it, that don't know what to do with it. And so what we're going to talk about today is how the brand is no longer what we tell consumers it is, it's what consumers tell each other it is, right? There's probably a lot of you guys, anybody here on Yelp use Yelp a lot? Yeah. How do you like it? Anybody want to share? Do you like it as a user? Do you like it?
Yeah, me personally, I'll only post on Yelp if it's really good or really bad.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it takes a lot to get someone to write a review if it's meh, right? And you know, if you're the dealer, you don't really want a meh review either. So, all right. Every customer has changed how they shop. So 95% of car buying begins online. That's via Google. 96% are influenced by online reviews, eMarketer. And 80% of car buyers are more likely to turn to social media than a salesperson. Okay, so we've got this platform out there where customers are sharing information and businesses and dealers are not privy to it. So that's me. I'm here to kind of build a bridge between the old and the new. And when I worked in dealerships, I managed dealerships my entire life. And most of it was as either a general manager, last 20 years or so, general manager or a CFO in some cases, working for larger companies. So when I was working in the retail side, the owners would usually come to me and say, "Come on in and shut the door. We need to share some things with you. We need your advice on something." I was always that one that would go go inside behind closed doors. So we all want a trusted confidant, right? And somebody who's going to make sense of it all and kind of take the nastiness away and make it so that we can actually communicate with our customers online. So think of me as your social media consigliere, all right? My goal today is to take you from this to this, okay? And by the way, I'm happy to take questions after. We'll just go through the slides, and then if you guys have questions, feel free to raise your hand. The fact is, social media is evolving and dealers are not. Okay. How many here think, as a dealer, you believe that you're evolving well? Great. That's good to know. Positive online reputation does not happen without a formula. Okay, you need a formula to, and a process. These debacles happen, and they come along when you least expect it. Sometimes you don't even know you've made mistakes until it's too late. What you don't know will kill you. The key to all of this is being proactive rather than reactive, okay? You'll see a Yelp or profile, or you'll see a Google profile where someone's got maybe a few reviews, and you can tell right away that they're not being proactive about getting their happy, loyal customers to share their opinions online. And when that happens, when you're not making that effort and having a process and a formula, you're kind of like just like ready to be taken over by some crisis. So then it turns you into being reactive, okay? Nobody likes to be reactive. So this is my 7-step formula to skyrocket your online reputation. Fact is, 90% of consumers read reviews and 6% write them. What do you guys think that means? Anybody? Unhappy customers, right. Because who's more passionate, right? You have passionate, happy customers, but a lot of times they're not really, you know, they get busy, they want to write a review. I do it myself. So the first part of this 7 steps is be the company that you'd like to do business with or die trying, okay? I did a large training program with a manufacturer last year, and while we can talk about tactics all day about how to improve your online reputation, and I've got plenty of them here, and tools and all those cool things, but if you don't start with something meaty that the customer feels and wants to really do business with, then that's where you need to start. Okay? Don't jump to tactics. Don't jump to a vendor that'll promise you the world. You have to start with a really stellar reputation in real life. So I always say these real-life customer experiences need to be 5-star. And in some cases, because I spent a lot of time in retail and I'm still connected to a lot of dealers, there are owners and maybe even the managers that think if you ask them, yeah, we deliver a 5-star experience. But when you look at the reviews, it's not the case. So case in point, this is a dealership I used to manage and long ago. And a large company bought the group, and they spent $44 million on their beautiful new service facility on Wilshire Boulevard in Beverly Hills. And here we have Yelp. They've got 284 reviews and 2 stars. So what do you guys think? What would you like? Would you want to do business there? Would you want to go there if you saw that? Yeah. Yeah. When you see 2 stars on Yelp and it's got a few reviews, maybe it's still bad, but it's not so bad. But when you see 284, that's a consensus. That's going to go no, 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 no. Okay. Now, I know they do strive to do a good job, and they do strive to be a 5-star experience. But because they're so busy and they've got, some other components not in place, this is the result. And huge turnover. Yeah. Do you know them well? Yes. Some of the people that actually used to work for me are still there. A few of them, but yeah. Yeah. So number 2 is you want to create a review conversion funnel. I call it a review conversion funnel, and you'll see in just a minute why. These are your happy customers, right? And if you don't remind them and ask them to do things, they won't do it. You kind of have to bug them a little bit. These are kind of the excuses that we all have when we want to write a review. So this review conversion funnel will actually allow you to systematically drive customers to one conversion funnel that routes them to the review sites that you care about. Okay? There's software programs to do this. I'm going to talk about one today. I'm not saying it's the one to use, but it's just a lot of them run the same way, so I just use it as an example. The one I'm talking about today is grade.us. So basically what happens is, via email, you are creating this funnel, and the customers that you have serviced in the last month or so, they get this email and they get to choose whether they had a good or bad experience, one or the other. Okay? The people that are happy customers, this is where we're going to ask and remind and guide customers through that funnel. Okay? These are the people that have checked good experience. So first we'll invite customers to give feedback. Okay? People always like to give feedback if you ask them. They'll typically give you it back. And then the importance of crafting the right message in these emails. And I used 2 examples that we write for clients. The first one is our business is based on referrals, and we'd appreciate you sharing your experience with other people online. And the other one is, thank you for the awesome opportunity to serve you. We'd love to hear about your experience, and no doubt others would too. Okay? If you craft the right message and ask the right way, people will do what you want them to do. And then for those customers that they had a bad experience, there's a way to, you can actually recover unhappy customers before they vent online. In the happy customers, it will take you to a page where it's got links to the places where you want those reviews to go. The unhappy customers, it will not take them to those review pages. It won't give those links. It'll take them to a landing page. And the landing page will give you a second chance to make things right. You're going to have those customers go to what we call a recovery page, mobile responsive recovery page, and then again, craft the right message. Thank you for alerting us to your bad experience. We don't like bad experiences either. Remember, this is social, so try to keep it as conversational as possible. Please allow us to make things right. We'll contact you within 24 hours to find a solution that works for you and humbly ask how we could have done better. And if you promise a time, make sure it's that time. Okay? Don't let it go beyond it. Number 4 is monitor, engage, and track results. The thing about what this software will do is it will give you reports and let you monitor all of your properties wherever you are, whether it's Yelp, Google, any one of how many ever you want. And it will give you data to look at and to understand how to move forward from that. So the best thing about the data is that it'll allow you to know exactly what's being said in real time, and you'll gain insights to improve your results and your process. So pro tip is respond to every review. So how many of you guys are responding to every review? Great. You guys are awesome. All right, so here's some best practices for responding to reviews. Okay. And does anyone have a question about why to respond to every review? If someone gives you a 5-star review or a 4-star review, it's very similar to being in person and someone walking up and going, oh, hey, I really like your suit. And then you just like turning around and walking away if you're not responding. So if you just say thank you, okay? And we can get actually down into, I've had questions by some attendees of conferences that, well, we respond to every review and we have a lot of 5 stars, and I'm tired of, what do I say? I kind of run out of things to say. So in that case, what I often recommend is having them reach out to the salesperson that handled that particular transaction and ask if there was some kind of identifying story about it. Did the customer was there a birthday? Was there a special occasion? What was the story behind that transaction if the salesperson remembers? If you can include in your response something personal, that customer is going to remember it. All right, so always recognize these opportunities to engage. And I'm talking today about online reputation, but it really is social media. So engaging is what customers want to see and want to be able to see others, the stores that they're going to buy from. They want to see what people are saying and how they can respond. No canned responses. I've seen kind of a mishmash of the same kind of corporate speak. If you put that, it's better to just not have anything than to keep copying and pasting the same response on your reviews. There's a dealer in Southern California where I'm from that they chose a gentleman whose the English is his second language and then said, here, go take care of our online reputation. And so he doesn't speak English or write English very well, so he just started copying and pasting a lot of the same thing on the reviews and as responses, and it looked really, really bad. So if you have a negative review, we call it stop, drop, and roll. So I'm sure you guys know by this time that, but a lot of dealers will get, and you know, it's like they're calling your baby ugly, right? You get mad and you get upset, and you know, but the first thing is just stop what you're doing and think about, if it's not the right time to respond, then don't. I even had a dealer say, you know, what I usually do is, you know, when I get a negative review, I'll go home and I'll talk to my wife about it, and then she'll just help me write the response. So whatever works to diffuse your anger and your being reactionary to it, because there really is, in a lot of negative reviews, there's a lot of opportunity to turn it around. Okay? If you do get a negative review, you always want to acknowledge it and apologize if appropriate. Take it offline as needed. And for positive reviews, I believe in promoting them. So whether that means, we'll get into that in just a second, actually. So let's turn reviews into content to boost engagement. So we can use the reviews, like our happy, loyal customers have written about us, and tells more of a story about what it's like to do business with us, so others will see. And we can actually take those reviews and what people are saying to increase engagement with others. So I like to call it tell stories of customer experiences, because people are looking for stories. They're looking for information. Can they find information about the car? Yes, they can find a whole bunch of information about the car. But there's a need to find out more information about the seller. So in this case, feed reviews into your website. There's a lot of dealerships that are already doing this. Okay, that's kind of an easy kind of gimme kind of thing. Publish weekly blog posts. Who has a blog? You guys have a blog? Awesome. How often do you publish? Once a week? Great. Okay, so in this case where blog posts, if you have a blog already, I can urge you to get one, okay, and to start one, because Google has told us that for search engine optimization, fresh, relevant content on your website that people are clicking on and people are actually reading and looking at on social media, this is going to increase your rank. Okay? Content is the #1 ranking factor. So you can ask me questions about a blog later if you have them. And so then you've got to fill it with content, right? You can videos and images and written word, and in this case, I'll give you an example of a customer experience. I have a client in Jackson, Tennessee, and they had an older lady had walked into the showroom one day, and she was lost. She couldn't find her way home. So the sales manager got in her car and drove to her house, found her house for her, and then came back and just took a picture of it, and they were able to tell the story in a blog post. And that was one of their most clicked on blog posts ever. It got a lot of really good social interaction on Facebook too. Okay, so especially in this world where dealerships and dealers have such a stereotype that they're fighting against. And if I know from working in dealerships and from managing them, we had a ton of great customers and people loved us. And it's just a matter of telling that story to kind of counteract the one or two that are negative. Okay? Recognize opportunities to capture images and video. Okay? So, and we'll talk about a little bit in a minute about having salespeople be part of that and employees be part of recognizing those opportunities where there's something cool going on inside the store. And then, of course, share on social media, local directories, and email newsletters. Local directories are another big ranking factor for Google. And if you can have videos and images and pay attention to what's going on in those local directories and change them up on a regular basis, you're going to get much more influence online by doing that. Okay, content really does drive the web. And then, of course, engage raving fans. So if you guys know Mike Davenport, he's down in Kentucky. He is very good at that part about recognizing opportunities for pictures and video. he's really good at that. So he has his customers, takes pictures of customers. And you know, we've all seen that delivery, that picture of the delivery where, you know, there's a customer smiling next to the car and, you know, and then, oh, congratulations, Mr. Jones, blah, blah, you know. That's kind of been done and everybody's done it. He does it in a very special way. Makes it different. And number 7 is you want to add review building to the sales process, okay? Every bit of content published, including things said by salespeople, either reinforces or weakens your online reputation. Does everyone agree with that, right? I mean, it happens on the phone, right? We've all heard like those, you know, recorded phone calls of, you know, when the salespeople have taken calls and some of the nightmares that can happen. So we want to make sure that that salespeople understand this concept, and also we understand that whatever they say really does matter. So in order to do that, you want to implement a written social media policy. And I always advocate for doing it for new hires. We're in California. I'm in California, and it's a pretty litigious state. So we have lots of documents and lots of things to sign. So part of the hiring package is always a acknowledgement of the employee handbook, and this could be part of that. Customers Google your salespeople. So everyone, if you think about how you behave online, right, you're gonna, if there's actually a person that you're gonna be connecting with, you're gonna Google them, especially on something that's a large purchase. This is an example of a guy named Ted. He works at a Mazda store, it's Tustin Mazda. There's a great dealer there that's very connected to his online reviews. He gets, the Orange County Register always has the most beneficial and most great places to work in Orange County, and he wins every year. The dealership wins every year. I don't see that happen very often. So here's just a review that someone had written about one of the salespeople named Ted. And so when you Google the dealership, Tustin Mazda, that's the same, right there is the same review. So if your customer is if you're talking to them and you're a salesperson and they're Googling the dealership, they're gonna see there's some credibility and authority for salespeople. And this is a best practice that I try to advocate for. It's called social selling, which is just basically using social media to connect and network with either other customers that you have already, or something like what Mike Davenport does. He kind of brings his customers into his community. And like I say, there's a lot that has to happen for this to work well, because there's a big danger. I just spoke to a 20 group of big Ford dealers, and their biggest concern was, you know, I don't want my salespeople to steal my customers. So there's a process for this. But nonetheless, with regard to this, there was a study that just actually got they just redid the study, but 79% of salespeople who use social media to sell outperform those who don't. And in the case with Mike Davenport, I just know some of his numbers because I was talking to him a little bit ago. He was from Florida, and he went into Louisville, Kentucky, not knowing anybody. And he's been in the car business for 17 years. He's been a sales manager, so he's not like the young kid that a lot of people think, oh, they can do that because they're young. He's got a lot of, there's a lot of water under the bridge. So he took to Facebook and Twitter and established a brand for himself. He calls himself the Louisville Chevy Dude. And he connects with his customers and his dealer is very open to that. And he's now the #1 Corvette salesperson in the nation. So he really works it well. He does an amazing job. So with regard to a process, so we talked about having this funnel and having the customers that say good experience, bad experience, and trying to be proactive about what we do. This is kind of the end result. This is a client of ours. They're in Pennsylvania and near Allentown, and they just implemented this $25 spiff for if any salesperson was mentioned in a verified 4 or 5-star review, so verified meaning looking it up and making sure that it was a real review, because we all know some people might try to game the system. Before they started it, they had 4.7 stars out of 5, which is really, really good. And they had 23 reviews, and then 90 days later, they had 163 reviews. So, and this was a very simple, like, rolling out of, here's what you get. And as you can see, this is my latest screenshot. There's 246 reviews now. So, yeah. And you could do this, they chose to do Google, but you could choose any. Like if you're a dealer rater person or dealer, or if you're in a place where Yelp is a big deal, absolutely. Okay. Mm-hmm.
There's some states that you gotta be careful with bird dogs. Certain states in the country don't allow bird dogs. So again,
Is that actually a?
yeah, we experienced that recently.
So this is a $25 spiff to the salesperson.
Salesperson.
Uh-huh.
I thought it was to
No. Yeah. Sorry, to salespeople. Yeah, not, you don't want to pay anybody for, yeah, got it. Okay. All right, so let's just recap. So we've got this 7-step formula. First is be the company you'd like to do business with, okay? And create a review conversion funnel. By the way, if you guys want to email me, I can send you a link to my slides. So my email's right here. Number 3 is ask, remind, and guide happy customers through the funnel. Recover unhappy customers before they vent online. 5 is monitor, engage, and track results. Turn reviews into content to boost engagement. And number 7 is add review building to the sales process. Okay. Grade.us will do a lot of the, it's a platform for you to actually get this conversion funnel going. Is anybody else using any other kind of, I know there's another company called Podium. Has anyone heard of Podium? Who does? Do you use them? Do you like it? Yeah. Yeah, and Podium does it via text. Grade.us does it via email. So, all right, and that's me. Okay. So, any more questions at all? Yeah? Yes, sir. Yeah, I think, totally. There's, in this world of CSI, we're in this transition where, because in the real world, CSI to a customer doesn't really mean that much, because what's, once a year from JD Power that says, you're the number 1 at something. That doesn't, because they can pull out their phone and go, let me see what it really is today. So each factory I know is having some obstacles and struggles with that. And at the dealer level, it's really tough because you've got the CSI component where that process is in place and it's contacting your customers, and maybe your salespeople's pay plans and your service writers' pay plans are all tied to all of that. Meanwhile, like Beverly Hills BMW, they've got, 2 stars and 280 some reviews. That obviously is not, working well. So there has to be a happy medium. I know when we worked with the Mazda one last year, they were very proactive about wanting to have the dealers be in the online reputation space and less away from the CSI component, kind of extricating themselves from the money around it. They're putting more money towards online reviews. They're putting more money towards training salespeople, having an online course for salespeople on basically like how to do social selling. That's kind of the gold standard, but even just walk before you run, just here's what happens when you're on Google, here's what happens when you're mentioned in a review, but just educating the salespeople. A lot of money behind that. There's certifications with that, certifications for the dealer and certifications for salespeople. So I think there's, a forward-thinking manufacturer is going to definitely want to focus on this aspect of it. Yeah. Yeah. Anybody else? Yeah. So how are you guys? You guys are killing it, right? Are you doing, how are you, where are you from? Uh-huh.
Oh, I'm from Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, and actually, one of our salesperson, we gave him that Chevy guy's information, Davenport,
Uh-huh.
and he became a mentor to him. And Eddie now has, when you're ready, call Eddie, and he went from, he's doing like 30, 40 cars a month, he takes no ups. He doesn't answer the phone. He's doing it all through social media, and he uses Dealer Rater. They have lot shots.
Yeah.
So that's an app that Dealer Rater has, and what he does is he takes a picture with his phone. I don't know if you all know about this. They email it to the customer. The customer writes the real nice review. It'll post on Dealer Rater, and from there we copy and paste it and put it on Facebook. So, and we pay for it. We pay $10 for the Dealer Rater, $10 for the Facebook, and then also $25 for Google. And I mean, he's killing it.
Yep.
He is his own little business.
Yep.
And he blogs, he does the blogging. I mean, he got it.
That's so cool.
And he's not a young guy either.
Right.
You know,
Okay.
It was really a struggle to get somebody to buy in. And
Yeah, I think where the older kind of mindset comes into play with the content part of it, because they've been around a while, they know like the things to say and do, and they kind of have a better grasp of just that idea of communicating themselves online, communicating themselves in person and then taking that online, whereas the younger has a different idea about it. They're not as good as content writing that I've seen. So I'm going to say, Dealer Rater has a component, you pay for it, but they have, salespeople have their own pages, their own like little, like can be a blog, can be, but I have one client that their top salesperson actually, he has an actual Dealer Rater page, and so whenever he talks to anyone, prospect, any potential customer, he just sends them right to that page, and he's got 5 stars, and I want to say last time I looked he had 90 reviews, and they're all 100% awesome. So yeah, there's so much value in letting the salespeople, training the salespeople on what to do, and then guiding them as you go along. You can't just kind of launch it and leave it. You'll have to guide them along. But we're making salespeople an extension of the store now, an extension of the brand, an extension of for the community as like a liaison. It's much different than where those old days where the customer would come in and the salesperson would have all the information. Yeah, thanks. That's great. Yeah. Okay, well, anybody else got a question? All right, well, thanks very much.